So once our team heard that in all of the shelters in Evansville, the 8 shelters are consistently full, we selected our innovation bucket to be the homeless bucket. So that is when we came up with the Homeless Garden Project. I'm Bree, this is Ethan and Lauren, and today we'll be telling you more about it. So imagine this, you are one of those people. You are one of the homeless people right here in Evansville, staying in the shelter every single night. You're sleeping next to people that you don't really know, you're in a dark room, you have a very dim outlook on life with limited opportunities, and you don't really know the game plan to get out of the shelter. So that is where the Homeless Garden will come in. So our problem specifically is the fact that there are consistently full shelters. So that shows that there aren't really ways, the people aren't getting out of the shelter. They have limited opportunities. So we talked to the president of the board of directors for the Evansville Rescue Mission, Dan Grimm, and he said that out of 160 bunks when they got their new facility, 160 bunks were immediately full. That's a lot of people, and with 532 homeless in Evansville, all these people have to eat. And that's very expensive. With $3 a meal, with three meals per day, that averages out to over $4,000 a day to feed Evansville's homeless. With over $1 million, nearly $2 million a day, or for a year, to feed the Evansville homeless. So we need to get these people jobs, and we need to get them out. And wouldn't it be a great way to help them earn recommendations for jobs while also cutting the food costs for the shelters?
So our solution then is to the Homeless Garden Project. It's a garden maintained by the homeless. It identifies the homeless that are willing to work and receive responsibilities. It gets them to the point where they can receive recommendations from the shelters and get them out in the working world. And it also, in the meantime, produces food for the shelters, decreasing food costs, and our ultimate goal being to keep the homeless out of the shelters. Our industry trends that we're following are the economic development of blighted homes. So they take homes and they destroy them, and you have that plot of land. So we need to take that land and we want to turn it into gardens that can be used for the Homeless Garden Project. Also, the other trend is being eco-friendly and at the same time being sustainable, getting the community involved with that, because they'll see that it's both eco-friendly and sustainable, and they like that sort of stuff, so yeah.
So the opportunity size, as Bree said, there is approximately 532 homeless people alone in Evansville on any given day. And with there only being 8 shelters, they're consistently at max capacity. So our competitive advantage against the Housing First approach, which is our main competitor, is we cut food costs, we maintain relationships with the homeless, we decrease the shelter population, and we create employment opportunities. The Housing First approach only it decreases the shelter population and it provides permanent housing. But the permanent housing is just kind of a band-aid. It doesn't help them get back on their feet, it just gives them a place to go. And we could actually provide permanent housing, because if the homeless person who gets recommendations from us gets an employment opportunity, that will eventually lead to them getting back on their feet, getting money, all that.
So we already touched on the problem and identified the solution, and in our next slide we'll be covering the value proposition. With our unfair advantage, we are hoping to dip into the blighted homes, that trend, and we are waiting to hear back from Kelly. He is with the City of the Metropolitan Economic Development. We are wanting to reach out to supply stores, garden supply stores, and possibly receive donations to get even the cost of getting the garden started up even lower. The customer segments, as Lauren touched on, 8 homeless shelters, approximately 532 homeless in Evansville. Our key metrics, we found a statistic where $70 put into a small garden, just a small one, you get $600 worth of food produced throughout an entire year. So we're averaging that our gardens are going to be about 4 times the size, and multiply that by 8 shelters, and we would get over $16,000, nearly $17,000 worth of food just for an entire year. So our channels to reach these people would be through our personal contacts and personal phone calls to actually reach out to these people and see what we can do and get help. So our value proposition is for the homeless population and the shelters that house them who are wanting to help the homeless obtain jobs while simultaneously cutting food costs. The Homeless Garden Project utilizes the upkeep of a garden to identify the homeless who are willing and able to work while producing food for the shelter. And unlike the Housing First approach, the Homeless Garden Project will cut food costs, maintain access to the homeless, help those relationships, and provide an incentive to work for a job recommendation. Ultimately, we're helping the homeless obtain jobs and move them out of the shelter to get them back on their own 2 feet. So for that person who's up with the homeless population right here in Evansville, who's stuck in a dim, dark situation, there's a light at the end of the tunnel that can help them get to where they need to be.
Thanks, guys.